Good evening and welcome to the last of the live not lives that I'll be doing while we're away, and hopefully next week we'll be back to actually being live where you can talk to me, type to me. So it's a bit strange for me doing this, but I was so adamant that I wasn't going to miss out on giving you guys a little project, bit of inspiration, a little bit of creativity throughout the week. And I think Wednesday is a good day for it because you're midweek and it's like sometimes it can just feel like it's a long slog. So a little bit of fun. So apologies, they are a bit shorter while I'm pre-recording them just because it is a bit weird, and also I don't know how well they upload to Facebook. But we'll just do a fun little project. I've got a lovely set of stamps to play with, so let me not waste any time and let's get looking at what we're going to be doing. So switch to that. So we're going to be looking at potting shed. Now this is one of those that you can straight away see that there are so many layers of dimension with this. You've got all these fun little pots and things like that, and then you've got this fabulous stamp here. So I thought we'd do a couple of little techniques using some of these elements, and then we'll create a very simple little card. But before we can do that, I just need to work out my panels that I've got to work with. So the base of the card is actually going to be made from A4, but it's actually going to be a little bit smaller than A4. So to help me, I am going to cut off a noticeable chunk of my A4, okay? Because if you think about matting and layering, and if you watch last week's, you'll know why my scissors are playing up. If you think about matting and layering, the whole point of matting and layering is that the card gets progressively bigger so that you've got a frame around. Hello, what's going on there? I don't think it likes the white. Hang on. Oh, it didn't like the white. I do apologise for that. I'll get some colour on that in a minute. That was really weird. It was really struggling to focus. It must be just reflected. Right. I've just cleaned a bit of gunk off my scissors. So I'm going to take a small amount off two sides, length and width. Oh, it doesn't like that white. And then I'm going to divide this up into 8. So in half that, bringing in there. And this is a very crude way of giving me my panels to work on before I make the card. So I'm doing it a little bit back to front here, just so that I can show you some little techniques before revealing what the card is. Obviously, if you've got a trimmer, you can do this with your trimmer, but I'm just going to create some little panels. Okay, so I only need 4 actually, but they need to be sort of roughly that size. And I'm going to take a couple more, but I'm going to work with them landscape, not portrait. Okay, so let's get the stamps out. Not that these were filmed back to back or anything. Well, I'll just take the frog off. I haven't really left him on there a week. So I'm going to be playing with the flowers from within here. Possibly not going to use the full actual potting shed just this week. But let's get some flowers stamped and a bit of colour on them. Okay, so I'm going to just stamp it like that. I mean, you can see it is just such a beautiful little stamp set. Okay, bit of that. Okay, and I am going to be cutting these out. So in terms of adding some colour to them, I thought we'd go for like a sort of a very watercolory effect. So I'm going to just take the stamp off for a second and add some. I've got to make sure that's dry because obviously Versa Fine Clair, although does like water, has to be dry to. So I'm just blobbing, technical term, blobbing into there. Just going to see what other colours I've got. Bit of aged mahogany, bit of ripe persimmon. So I'm just blobbing the ink pad onto my acrylic block and then pressing my little card into it. So it's picking up the colour in sort of different places. And you could do a few of these at the same time so that you've got a little, you know, you're not wasting any ink. Bit of aged mahogany. And then just blob. So a couple of different places. And just to give it a nice sort of very watercolory sort of feel. And then I'm going to go with a little bit of peeled paint down here, just so that we've got a little bit of green to go at the bottom there. And as you're doing wet on wet, the colours will sort of blend together, and that's what will give you that really nice watercolory effect. Now you could just leave those as little panels like that with that nice watercolory background, and in fact I might do that on the little panels I need, but just for what I need for my card, I'm just going to give it a little dry so that I don't smudge it with my fingers. And because the stamp's done the artwork for you, it's quite an easy way of creating little pieces of art. Now I'm going to loosely cut these out, and I am aware I want to do a lot in this short space of time, so I won't be cutting out brilliantly. Now I've cut these cards quite small, and when we come to do the card in a minute, you could actually preempt and have your pieces of card all pre-prepared and stuff like that. But I want to show you how you can adapt as your ideas develop. And I am not doing the best cutting out here for two reasons. One, my scissors are gunked up from last week's live, which wasn't obviously for me last week. So I am using a little bit of hand sanitizer to try and get the gunk off my scissors. It's coming off a bit. Just be careful when you're doing things like that, that you're not rubbing your finger across the blade. Okay. And if truth be known, I'm cutting it close and getting ready to do the actual live for the week before we go away. So it's very weird. So there's one little set of flowers, and you can see this would build up into a little border quite nicely, but I'm actually going to use it to create a whatchamacallit? Oh, I don't know. Like a layered scene. That's what I'm trying to... That's the words I'm trying to get out. I'm also trying to look at the clock. Right, what have I got? Okay. It's all very a bit tight on time here. There we go. So just giving that a little... So we've got a little layer of things. Now the other reason I have not pre-planned these so that they are on the supports they're needing for the card is because I want to be able to adjust them so that they're not lining up like that. So by doing them a little bit freer, I'm in a better position. Right, let's just do back panel, and we'll do the side panels. Right, I'm just going to do that same kind of idea, but this time we're going to go back to front. This time we're going to put the colour down first. So we're going to have some blue and some green. And we're just going to switch our cards into that so that we're getting a very basic sort of not sea and sky, sky and grass sort of look. So I need to put a bit more colour on. It just gives a really nice soft look to these. Now this is a little bit unfair on this stamp set because I'm actually probably only going to end up using one stamp from it. But, you know, that's how you work with stamp sets. Sometimes you don't need all of them all of the time. So I might use the little shelf. Yeah, I might use the little shelf. Right, quick blast of dryness. Because I want to overstamp. I might use some of the pots. I mean, I'm not showing the stamp set to their best because actually the finished project is what I want to show you. But I might as well use a nice pretty stamp set to get some scenery going. Right, let's take the little, it's like a little wooden frame, but I think it'd be really nice stamped and then if you cut it out and use those little bits there to bend down and create a little bracket, you could actually stick it onto your card so you've got a little bit of dimension there so that you could add your little pots to it. But it is designed to be a little sign, and I'm going to just add it. Oh, I tell you, no, I am going to do, right, it doesn't matter how well I plan and think, it's all right, I'm planned, I know what I'm going to do because I've only got half an hour on these ones. I'll be succinct, and I changed my mind because I'm actually going to add that as a little sign like that. I'm going to bring in the "in the garden" wording. I'm going to add that to the little sign. Squidge a little bit of brown on that so it's not quite so white. That'll do. Obviously waiting for your VersaFine to dry so that you're not smudging that. Right, that'll do because that's going to go in front of those. Okie dokie. Gonna add also that "in the garden" to here, and then what have I got? I've got the little pots. I'm going to stick with my one that I was using, if I know where I've put it. Oh dearie me, there it is. So let's just add him to these panels. So sorry this is a little bit rushed, but at least it's better than not having anything. And I think you'll like this card. Okay, so you could go in and add a little bit of colour to these. What have I got? I've got pink and yellow and stuff, yeah. So I'm just going to continue this round, and that's a clue to, so that's going to be, that's going to go around like that. Maybe ink, add a little bit to this one as well. And add some colour. So again, you could go in with the same way that we've just done the colour. But you can see, even though I'm rushing this to get through, you can see that stamp is just such a lovely one. And, you know, you could come in and start adding a bit of colour with your watercolours, you know, or your pens. I'm using a little bit of pencil, just a bit of green in there just to give it a little bit of life. Or you could do that watercolour effect. You could do water stamping so that you're pulling the colour out from your distress inks. Whatever you want to do, these stamps are going to work for you. And you can just see they're just such a lovely little bit of interest. I don't think we've got a little bee in here, but we have got the dragonfly and things like that in other sets. So just mix and match. So adding a little bit of colour. Obviously these are probably not the right colours of flowers. That looks like a foxglove to me, so that would be pink. So I'm doing it orange, obviously, because we don't stick to convention, do we? And I am rushing my colouring drastically. I just want these little panels, but you can see that simple colour blocking background really does work. Adding a bit of whatever. So I've got all my panels. I'm ready to actually start making this into a bit of a fun card. So move everything to one side. Now I want to fold my card, but not in half. Can you see that I've left a bit of a border there? Okay. And I'm going to take my side up to there. And this is where, oh, this is why you cut your pieces shorter. And then bring that up to there as well. So we're getting 1, 2, 3 even. This means this one isn't perfectly even. It's got that extra bit. So we're going to fold that up. So now we've got a taggy bit. Okay. And then we're going to fold it in half that way. Right. So we have got 8 sections and a tag. We need to take away half of the tag, and we need to cut down this crease. Okay. Now these ones you could cut them a little shorter if you want. Okay. But not the last one, leave the last one full. Then we're going to apply a little bit of double-sided tape, she says. Double-sided tape, there it is. Why did I put that away? To there. Peel off the backing and bring that around to there. So it's creating a very simple box. We fold the 3 shorter tabs out. Okay, and we leave that nice one at the back tall. And this will fold flat, okay, to go in the post. So you can decorate those if you want with extra panels, but what we have got is our little panels to go around here. Now, do you remember that one that I put the in the garden in? That's going to be our front panel. And this is why cutting your paper a little bit smaller, so I've automatically got a black border. I'm going to just pull my double-sided tape out a second. So the other 2 panels are going either side. So it looks like the flowers are continuing round. And that's why I like this border, because it's so, I call it a border. It's not obviously designed specifically to be a border, but it does work beautifully as a border. So that goes there. So you can see that we've got a nice little card going on. And then these ones are going to sit in here. Now obviously they're just going to fall if we do that. So what you need is some little strips of card. That are going to be wider than your box. Okay, quite a bit wider, because what we need to do, and I use the flap for this so I can get my measurements, pinch that around and around. So now we know that is the right width, and that, if I hold it like that, gets stuck inside there, and it will still fold flat with that in. So just add a little bit of tape or glue to this, and we're going to create these little bars that go across. That means we can stick our flowers onto them and create that little, oh that was silly, pulled the tape off, not the backing. So come on. So, oh, come on. Why, when you're trying to condense things into a shorter period of time, so pop that just in like that. You see, it will still fold flat, and then we can stick one of our flowers to there. If they're still slightly damp, the tape doesn't. So you've got that little dimension there. Our little in the garden sign can just stick straight inside there, and then we want another panel, another sort of support at the back here for our other one. And you can do as many layers in this as you want. It's just a really nice way of creating a very simple layered card that does fold flat. But again, no measuring. So fold those edges in, stick that there, and then what you want to do is have a look, and you might want to stick that one higher up, low, you know, or off to one side. And that's why I don't pre-plan them with their tabs on, because it gives me that option to move them about. What am I doing? What am I doing? Should have put it on the back, because then you wouldn't see the white bar. And if you don't want to see the white bars, you can obviously create these out of acetate. So you've got your little layers of, and then we're going to have our last panel at the back there to create a little bit of background. Stick yourself to your tape, obviously, goes without saying, doesn't it? Okay, so onto there, and then we've got this lovely little dimensional card that will fold flat. You can wrap corner around those, add little greetings. Oh, we forgot to add our little sign. So we've got our full in the garden, and you've just got a really fun one that you can make all the elements separately. That's what I like about cards like this. So you can sit, you know, colouring in, doing whatever you want to your heart's content, and then put it into a card. There we go, in the garden, and then you've got your little foldy flat card with all those beautiful interests. I say, and you've got so much scope there. You, as I trim them down, corner round it. You can adjust the height as well, so it doesn't have to be half and half, but I just find that an easy way to measure it out. So there you go, a little pop-up box card. Nice and simple, using our the Hobby Art potting shed. Just one, well, 2 stamps if you count the little sign. It's just a really nice little fun, colourful one. And that flower border, you can just see that just all the way along a card. It's got that continuation with it. It's just a really fun one to do. So I hope you enjoyed that. And next week we should be, fingers crossed, back to normal with a proper live where I can interact more with you. So, but hopefully you'll watch these back, and by the time I get back to a computer, you'll have all made pop-up box cards with beautiful layering. Okay, so in the meantime, have fun, be creative, and take care. See you soon.